Everybody, to episode 3. This is Talk Shop Crypto. I'm Kyle.
I'm Tyler.
I'm Nick.
And we're here to talk shop. So, Nick, you got some news for us today?
Yeah, I
Put you on the
I
spot.
did a thing today.
You did a thing today.
I went to the doctor's up. No, I have some news about cryptocurrency. Is that something you want to hear?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, cool.
I mean, that's kind of what this thing is about.
Wait, what?
Wait, wrong podcast. We could turn this into a football.
All right.
Okay. All right. Okay, get into business. So there's this article on coinounce.com. It says Visa's new P2P debit card to use XRP for payment. That's a little misleading. They haven't announced using XRP.
Yeah.
That's why I think it says rumor up top.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Rumor.
Rumor.
Oh, it says rumor.
Yeah.
Quotations.
So it's a rumor,
Yeah.
but the rumor has some basis because Visa and MoneyGram have joined forces. MoneyGram just sold a $50 million stake to Ripple.
Yep.
So what MoneyGram is doing, or what Visa wants to do too, is use their X Rapid program, which helps transfer money overseas quickly, cheaply, and easily. So
Which is huge.
Huge.
It's hugely big. Bigly.
It's true.
But yeah, that's actually pretty big news. If it were news, it is a rumor. But with Ripple,
it'd be easy to do if they wanted to use XRP. It'd be like the next logical step.
Yeah, and so with Ripple, as some know, if some don't, they have 2 programs. They have more, but there's one called Xcurrent and Xrapid. Basically, Xcurrent allows you just a transaction software that they sell companies. A lot of banks are using that. But what the XRP community wants, Ripple community wants, is the Xrapid program to be used, because that's what actually uses the XRP token, which, if institutions, bankers, whoever is transacting in that, that's going to cause it's going to cause a huge influx of volume. So that's why MoneyGram is such a big deal, because they handle so much money every single day transferring overseas. I think they have like a 20, 25, 30% charge to that. Is that correct? Somewhere in that ballpark?
What banks?
MoneyGram, when they transfer.
I'm not sure on MoneyGram, but I know just like if you do an international wire or transfer,
yeah.
we had about $50
Yeah.
to an international wire.
And then so what the big deal was when Ripple came in with MoneyGram, it basically was just going to cut that down by 80, 90%.
Yeah.
The fee. So it's going to be cheaper for people, and whoever they're sending to gets more money. But so if Visa were to do this, it would not only make the payments faster, it would allow more transactions per second, but
every second.
It has so many transactions, it would change the grammar of the word second.
now that's huge.
You gotta stop that today.
No. You can't stop greatness.
No. What have I done?
But so I think where the big thing is, if Visa is adopting MoneyGram, their transactions, MoneyGram's using Xrapid, so it's like a chain effect,
Yeah.
So that could be huge. That would mean that Visa is, I'm sure they would know it, but it would be using Xrapid too.
Which would make mine.
Which would what?
Buy in an XR.
Yeah, potentially. The big thing, I don't know if you know this. This is a little off topic that I didn't prepare you all for, but Ripple, there's a huge thing going on with Ripple now because they have so much locked up in escrow, and so they are allowed to take. So I think it's like 1 billion or something becomes unlocked in escrow every month for XRP to use to sell for just daily operations. Pay people and all that. And I think they have it set up for years down the road, so they'll never. But they're trying to make XRP a decentralized currency, which it is, but the SEC is trying to say it's a security, which would make it not decentralized. Yeah. But basically, so with them having all this unlocked, that means they have to sell, which means it suppresses the price. So you're not seeing a huge influx in price with XRP, which people are hoping, which we've talked about. There's potential for certain price points that Ripple could hit if Visa were to adopt this and banks were to adopt this, but I think that's a huge thing that's going against XRP. But if this is if this rumor holds anything like actual value, that could be huge for XRP.
Crypto news is such a great what if all the time.
It is a speculative market, but sometimes rumor is the news.
A lot of investments are, but I'm just saying it's
buy the rumor, sell the news.
It seems like 50 to 75% of like crypto.
It can be.
Yeah.
I mean,
but it's fun though. That gives it room for speculation and fun.
And so, that's, I think Warren Buffett or somebody says it, but like I just said, buy the rumor, sell the news, because typically when it hits the news, it's already too late. But so moving on from XRP, unless you all have anything else to add. But there's a browser called Brave browser, and it's made by Brave. And so basically what this is, so we know that the next revolution is not like the industrial age. It's not, mechanical. It's not, anything like that, except, there's a lot of medical advances going on in the world right now. You all probably know this. The biggest revolution right now is data collection.
Yep.
And
which Amazon is Amazon, Facebook, all that.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Amazon might not be.
I think Amazon is. They have one of the huge.
I think they're the
server warehouse.
I'm pretty sure it's. I know they're the biggest data holders. Like they.
Yeah, they hold.
I don't
the
know
data.
if they collect it. I know Facebook.
I'm sure they do somehow. But
Facebook, Twitter, all them. They're the kings.
Yeah. So basically, the way that it works right now is if you go online, you see an ad. Typically, the person, if you click on the ad, that website will get a few cents for your click, and then you make the sale. Well, Brave browser is now trying to circumvent, if that's the word for it. Basically, they're trying to make it so if you visit Facebook or whatever, through their browser, you won't see ads. So if you go on YouTube, if you go on Spotify, all that, you will not see ads. It will actually block it. But the kicker is, here's what makes Brave unique. When you use their browser and you allow the ads to show up, you get paid for it. Because that's the biggest thing, that the actual consumer is not getting paid. Basically, these huge companies are taking data points on us, and we don't get any compensation for it.
Facebook killed with that during the election.
Yeah. The Cambridge Analytica, that's a whole nother podcast, isn't it? We won't touch it. Watch the document. Oh, want to open up a can of worms? But it's we watched Rust Valley Bros on Netflix, so that was a really good show. But what's also on Netflix is that Cambridge Analytica, the whole documentary about data collection. Anyway, so Brave will pay you for the ads that you see, and so you actually get the Brave token. Currently, I don't think you can sell the Brave token on exchanges, but I'm pretty sure it's going to come to a point where that you would be allowed to do that. So I don't know. What do you all think about, do you think that would be that's a good business model for a company like that, like Brave? Or
absolutely, because obviously they're making documentaries about this. They're pushing this, and nobody wants to be someone else's data point. Like, I don't want to be someone else's moneymaker.
Well, and it's like when that, going back to Cambridge, not going into it, but there was basically promising that they had 5,000 data points on every single person in the country, and they could help narrow down the person, like the.
So this is basically Facebook.
But yes. So instead, now they're like, well, that's my data that you're selling to these companies, and I'm getting nothing for it. So I feel like there's kind of a digital revolution, I guess you could say, towards that, and that's what Brave's trying to.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because data became the most traded asset, past
oil.
Yeah. So they're literally making millions of dollars off of people.
Billions. Almost trillions.
And and I'm sure you all know this, but a huge thing that's been coming up lately is when you've created these YouTube, Facebook, Instagram accounts, the biggest power would be who's viewing it, what are they seeing, when are they clicking, how are they clicking, and then now it's like you have that power, so we see the revolution coming on.
I definitely would buy in, and I'd like to look into it.
But
and see
it's completely free too, so you should definitely look into it. And right now you can tip influencers on social media. So if you like something, and I think somewhere down the road they're going to allow the influencers to pay So if you tip somebody, you can pay like for something. I'm not sure what yet, but I think that's what they're aiming for.
Yeah. It's interesting because it just said it became the most downloaded browser in Japan.
Yes, and I'm glad you brought that up. I almost forgot about that. I think that's a really good point too, that it's happening in Japan because Asia is leading the entire crypto market right now. And actually one of the bigger ones are Japan and Korea. And actually, Nick, I don't know, you might have been around for this, but when I was telling you about Bitcoin when it was reaching $20,000, maybe, one of the big reasons, it was either right at the peak or halfway down when it was like at 11,000, Coin Market Cap decided and said, hey, the South Korean population is buying these cryptos at like an inflated price, or it was something like that, and they were like, we're going to take that whole market out. So basically it was like, I'm going to make up a number, but it was like 80 billion or 100 billion dollars just got wiped out of the market cap and just dumped the entire, because so everybody saw the price on Coin Market Cap, and that's what a lot of people refer to. So when the price dumped, everybody started dumping on the exchanges, which caused like a 10, 15, 20% drop on Bitcoin like that very day. And everybody was like, whoa, you can't do that. But that was a little side rabbit trail.
I wish I would have been investing in, because I would have immediately been like, buy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But
that
yeah.
just shows you just take out the South Korean market, and that's what happens.
Yeah, and so,
it goes to show how important it is.
Oh, I know. So like Asia's leading the crypto market, and then it goes the European, the European sector is running it, and then, and the U.S. is kind of getting left behind. We have very few regulatory clarity, rules in play, but anyway, moving on, Tyler, you sent me something earlier today, and I wanted you to lead this because it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, the reason I kind of got into this is, obviously, I mentioned before, I work at a bank, and I've been trying to talk someone into kind of getting into Coinbase and downloading this so we can invest in the market, get some crypto, get some Bitcoin, all these things. And he said he's logged in, and it asked for all this, social and personal info. And I'm like, of course, anybody's kind of cautious with that. Smart, whatever. But he had then seen an ad come up with like a blockchain malware problem that had come up where some malware was targeting blockchain and basically mining all their Bitcoin from them. That would implant on their computer, mine all their Bitcoin. And then you're out of Bitcoin, which would be devastating to someone. So it's just something, another big thing that is prohibiting, and this is the reason I thought it was so important. Another thing is prohibiting the common man from investing in, when I say the common man, I mean anyone who isn't educated on crypto, Bitcoin.
Well, it's still the Wild
blockchain.
West.
Yeah, it really is. So. And I can't blame him. That's 100% a valid
I don't either.
question.
Yeah.
So he saw that, and he was like, yeah, I'm not going to give them my information. And I'm like, well, dang, that's...
Well, this has been cool.
Yeah.
I think I'll pass.
Yeah.
This was fun downloading the app. Now I'll uninstall it.
Yeah. So you might be able to give more insight into what's actually happening.
Well, not saying that Tyler didn't describe it enough. He did. I was just going to read this excerpt just to give the listeners a little bit better view. This is coming straight from Yahoo Finance, the article that we're on. All the links that we talk about will be in the description, but we're on the third paragraph, and it starts out like this. It says, the bug hides inside adverts or links that are unsuspecting users click on in a practice known as malversatizing, and then downloads itself on the user's machine. Once there, it then connects to the hacker's chosen server, giving them access to the infected computer. But every now and again, that connection gets disrupted, typically because it gets caught by antivirus software, which blocks it from connecting. But more recently, Galutiba.
Yeah, that's how I said it.
That's whatever this malware is called. It says that it has mutated and is now using the Bitcoin blockchain, so not necessarily Bitcoin, but the blockchain, and to reconnect to the hacker's server without antivirus software noticing. So basically, this is, I can't I can't say this for sure, but what it sounds like to me is it's basically like a phishing link. If you were to get sent an email like, hey, I have this product, if you buy it, if you click on this link, you know, we could do some sort of service for you or whatever. So I don't see this happening. Like your friend got nervous downloading Coinbase, signing up for it, thinking he could be exposed. I don't think that's necessarily how it works on this.
Yeah.
But from what it sounds like as we read the article, you can either get it from sending Bitcoin to that address that is related to the malware or related to the link that is leading to the address.
Yeah.
So there's a couple ways that this guy, basically, this is not a new thing, but basically there's hackers out there that will unintentionally, and actually there's a huge, I think it was Bitmain, they make Bitcoin miners, but there is a huge, either lawsuit or something happened to where they were allowing you to set up your miner, and if you had it off, they were still mining with it, and it was unbeknownst to the user. And then they also, when you downloaded the firmware, it wasn't sending all the Bitcoin to you. It was sending some. It's a type of malware that will infect your computer and basically mine crypto unbeknownst to you. You go to your settings and you're like, oh, my CPU usage is at 98% and I have Google pulled up. That doesn't make sense. Well,
yeah, and it's been, according to the article, it's been around for 8 years now, since 2011.
It's a very common thing that people will send this type of thing. And
well, this one specifically has been around since 2011. It just apparently
Jalapida, whatever it's called.
Chalupa Batman.
Yeah.
So this one just apparently keeps evolving as it's evolving, it says. And the only way I can think of like a visual representation of what this is kind of like in the Matrix. Seriously, Agent Smith. Like if you've never seen that Agent Smith, he basically is a program. And he's meant to do one thing, and then eventually he evolves, and then starts eventually taking over all the other programs.
AI man.
Yeah, so eventually, once he keeps taking over programs, he keeps evolving and becoming different and different. Anyway, and yeah, going to the source, back what they're saying, picking up your IP address, going to that over and over and over. So yeah, for a lot of people that are already hesitant to come into crypto, Bitcoin, anything like that, and for them to see this and immediately kind of get like, and then like he expressed something that we'll talk, I'm sure, more about later. And he was already upset about this. Is like, I'd love to be able to do that. I'd love to be able to invest in something, but just like an online bank, he's like, I can't go physically there. If something like this was to happen, I know I can call these people, but if something happens, I want to be able to go talk to someone in person. I want to be able to physically see someone and say, where's my money? Where's my Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Like, something's not right. Obviously, I had all this. Now it's not there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll continue to talk about that, I think, as we go on. But it's a big problem in today's market, in our world. Yeah. It's almost like crypto is still far ahead of its time, which it still hasn't reached its potential.
They're trying to make everybody their own bank.
Yeah.
And people aren't used to that. It's like, hold on to your money, and they're like, no, take it.
No.
Sit up and take your money.
Well, I just think I think that the whole reason Bitcoin was created was, it's during the housing market crash, but it's the whole idea of, yes, banks have been portrayed as safe, that your money's going to be safe with them, and there is insurance policies, but at the same time, it's like you don't know what they're doing with the money. You just know that it's, quote, safe.
Which is really funny because telling someone that you want to make them their own bank, if you would have told somebody that they grew up in like the Great Depression, they'd be like, well, I already had money under the mattress. Of course I want to be my own bank because they took all of it from me. Yeah. So it's like we went from everyone doing that to now it's like, oh, let's bring all the money back to the bank. Yeah. And then now it's like, wait a minute, let's go back to
it like reverse.
Yeah. Which I work for a bank. I can't complain. I enjoy my job. Please don't fire me.
No, there's nothing wrong with banks. I think it's just there's certain people, like, I'm not saying there's any banks in particular that are bad, but there are some that like they do some illegal things and they always pay fines every year. And like there's some foreign banks that have been thrown up in recent articles, and it's like they lost everybody's money or something. I'm not saying all banks are like that. Most banks are safe, but this is just trying to give people more power to take more control of their money, allow them to do what they want to do.
You would think no one would trust the bank after the 2008 housing fiasco, but we just continue doing it, including myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that's also what our, basically everything's built on. It's banks, But so moving on from that topic, this is a short PSA announcement. We won't cover much over this, but there's a company called LocalBitcoins that they actually restricted some of their services due to laws. But anyway, it's basically LocalBitcoins allows you to see Bitcoin owners in your local area, and you all can meet up like Craigslist, and then you all can meet face to face, and somebody could give you cash, and then somebody can send you Bitcoin.
Please don't tell me there's about to be a crypto dating website. Is that already
There
happening?
probably already is.
If it isn't, we need to do that in our intellectual
They
property.
have dating sites for everything.
This is a note to myself. Cut that. But so basically that app is saying that they're raising concerns about Tor. It's a browser, but basically saying that this is hearsay. This is a question of who shot John, and nobody really knows. But they're saying, warning to all users, a Tor browser exposes you to risks of having your Bitcoin stolen. So if you use Tor, I'm not saying Tor is bad, but just do your own research, see what's going on with that, and comment down below. We don't know much about it, but so that'll be the extent of what we talk about on that.
I was just kind of thinking, like, LocalBitcoins had, they really value their customers' privacy, and according to some EU law, they're based in Finland, and according to some EU laws, they've had to force their users to supply more information than what they want. So I kind of wonder if they're just coming out in front of this saying, like, we respect everyone's privacy, because Tor is a browser that also is trying to, keep everyone's information private.
They're definitely two competitors on the market. So, you got to kind of take it with a grain of salt, but at the same time, it's always best to err on the side of caution. We'll try to bring you unbiased news, but if there's something like that might be in the wind, we'll tell you all, but we never know if it's, a lot of these news websites, a lot of people don't know, where they get the news, they're actually getting paid for the news, like the company. So a lot of it is hard to actually get the correct news, but we do our best. But moving on. So basically, the next thing I want to talk about is there's been kind of a bearish sentiment going around that Bitcoin is really struggling above the 10K mark, where we've seen it. We went up to 13,000. I remember, Tyler, you and I were texting. We were like, it's up to 10.5. It's up to 11. It's up to 11.5. It's at 12.5. Going. And then the outfielder catches it and it goes straight back down. But basically, there's been a lot of resistance at this 10K mark, and a lot of people are calling that it'll go to low 9s, low 8s, low 7s. But basically, on this website, on Crypto Potato, it says Bitcoin struggles to maintain a long-term support above 10K, and it says, will altcoins come back? And it gives a market update. So, I don't know if you all remember this, but typically when Bitcoin struggles and is trending sideways, like at this 10K mark, that's when we typically see the altcoins starting to pop. And currently, if I look on CoinMarketCap right now and I put it in comparison of Bitcoin instead of the dollar, a lot of the altcoins are actually green today because Bitcoin is down.
So what are your predictions? Which ones are going to hit the Big Ten?
Oh, I don't know. I think the ones that are hitting right now, I have CoinMarketCap pulled up, but the ones that are going to survive are the ones like I've been talking about, the ones with utility, the ones that are being developed on, the ones that the teams are actively promoting, they're trying to create partners. Like, so if I create this on Bitcoin Comparative, we'll see that Bitcoin right now at 9 o'clock September 10th is down 1.7%. And so we've got Ethereum up 1.2, XRP 1.8. These are all percentages in the green. We got Tether up, which is supposed to be a stable coin, but it's up 2%. So, take that with a grain of salt. But it's just, we got Huobi token. I think that's one of the biggest gainers in like the top 20. That's up 5%. So from what I'm seeing and what I've experienced throughout the markets, a lot of people are saying this is the beginning of alt season, but we've heard it's kind of like the next big crisis, the next big crash. Everybody's been calling a next recession every year since the last recession. It's like it's this year, and the same thing with alt season where it was February or March, and everybody was like alt season. It was July, alt season. Well, it never played out. And so we are seeing dominance of Bitcoin fall. I think we're falling about 0.2%. So we're seeing that trickle in. It's creating the 1% increase in altcoins. But right now, I don't. This is me personally, and I'm not against altcoins, but I'm not seeing the altcoins going to gain much here in the short term because Bitcoin is struggling, which trending sideways, yes, the altcoins will go up, which we're seeing. But if Bitcoin starts to go down at all, we're going to see those altcoins plummet. Like we talked about, they plummet more than 2, 3, 4 times more than what Bitcoin will. So in the short term, I think, yes, altcoins are going up. We're seeing the money flow into the altcoins. They're starting to pump. But watch, as soon as Bitcoin drops, all these gains are going to be washed away. So, I don't know. Does that answer your question? It's kind of a long-winded answer, but...
Yeah. I'd love to see XRP jump like 2,000%. That'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'd really appreciate it.
Did you just buy some?
I've had some. When it was at like the super lowest, so I'm hoping like...
I love these. There's a lot of... XRP has it's almost like a cult. It's like a cult community. You have all these guys that are like, I've done the analysis for the past 8 months, and I'm telling you dead certain it is going up 680% tomorrow because of this, this, and this. And it was like down 2%. And I was like, so a lot of people are hoping that it goes up, but remains unseen.
So I've got a question
yeah.
for you. So there's just like a billion altcoins, and I don't know. I'm just thinking about, like, the way I kind of think about this is with streaming services. Like, there's Netflix, and that's awesome. But now there's Hulu, there's Amazon, and there's like NBC, Disney Plus. There's even Apple TV Plus. And so, like, for me as a consumer, I don't want to subscribe to a billion streaming services, so I'll probably just stop. Like, what do you think about that in relation, like, to altcoins? Like, there's just so many of them out there, and they have so many different purposes. Like,
well, let me flip that back around on you. What shows are typically on the streaming service that you watch the most? Like, is there shows on Netflix? Are there shows on Hulu? Are there shows on Amazon?
I just have Amazon because I can use it for other things like shipping and
music,
stuff like that, and music,
and all of this.
So this is where it goes back to utility. What is the token that you're buying going to provide the customer? I can't pull it up right now, but
I think, for example, like, I don't know why you can kind of think out what you'll say there. I think part of that would be, like, for me, what you're saying, what they can offer, because everybody's getting on Disney Plus, and it's got every Disney movie.
Yeah,
it's got ESPN Plus that you can get.
It's all what you want,
and now you can get it from Hulu. Like, so you can get Hulu, Disney Plus, ESPN, all these things. So it has a wide variety of things that it can offer.
Yeah.
And not everything can do
that. And I'm sure we're only listing like 4 to 6 streaming services right now, Disney and all that.
It's just the popular ones.
I'm sure there's 30, 40, 50 out there.
Probably way more.
But I think it's all what you are looking for. So if you want a decentralized currency, you're going to draw more to that. If you want a more centralized, more safe currency, you're going to go one that's more centralized and further market cap. Do you see where I'm? Mm-hmm. It's whatever you're looking for. Now, there's over 2,000 coins in the market, and I think that's ridiculous. There doesn't need to be that many. So I think this is just me. If you want your money to be a little safer, look in the top 100, see what you like there, and then even if you are having trouble with that, narrow it to 50 and then down to 20.
Yeah.
So it's all in what you're looking for in a coin. Yes, a lot of people are looking at price. It's hard to determine what the price is going to be looking at all-time highs because a lot of coins are down 90% to 99%. So
So I have a question on top of that. When like what we're talking about, when you're saying what you're looking for in a coin, what it offered in a coin, what does that really mean? And you've mentioned some about like a good team that runs the coin, good, public relations, all these different things of like, I can't remember when you mentioned last week, it says they're, constantly putting money into pushing the coin, constantly.
Energy.
Yeah, energy, that was the one. Like, is that what you mean by like what's offered in a coin, or is it just stability? Like, what all is part of what's offered in a coin?
So let me just break it down real simple. Let me compare it to Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a safe investment, if you're looking for like a kind of gold, in the digital era, you put it in Bitcoin. But if you're looking for the next technology, for like the next, I think this is going to be the next thing that the internet's run on. I think this is going to be the next thing that this is run on. Then you go to Ethereum. They do two completely different things, but they're all on a blockchain, but they have different use cases. So on Bitcoin, there's nobody necessarily running it. There's people adding to the code, but Ethereum, there's a huge team behind it trying to incorporate Ethereum into different places. They're also trying to come out with a software called Casper where you can stake Ethereum now, so you gain like a 6% a year for just owning Ethereum. Bitcoin, you don't get that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Am I answering your question?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So putting it simple, it's just what you want. Yes, the team, you want active teams because that does hold weight. There's been cryptos that have been in the top 50, but also in the team, you hear nothing from them. Everybody's like, what's going on? All of a sudden you see, because it's a public address, you see all their crypto funds on that thing move to an exchange, and they're like, oh, it's going to dump.
Yeah.
And then the next day it's down 50% because they're just selling everything. So then they just exited. So that's why you want to see a company.
Yeah, and the only reason I ask that is because when you say that about a streaming opportunity, everyone knows like what's offered, what you're looking for, but not everybody knows what it means to look for something that's offered in a Bitcoin or crypto.
Yeah, and it's a little hard to draw, to string together similarities when we're talking about streaming services and investments because they're not really the same, but you can make correlations. But yeah, so like if you're looking to put your money in something that you accrue over the year, like you make percentages, like dividends, then there's certain cryptocurrencies that you can do that. Or if you're just like, I want to park my money somewhere that's safe, it's trusted, it's been proven, then you go into Bitcoin or another Ethereum, whatever. Yeah, it's whatever you want.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Sounds good.
This isn't financial advice.
Not financial advice.
Not financial advice.
So I think I like to mention every kind of week to those who watch that while some of you that are watching probably know everything that we're talking about, are like, okay, you're just getting the news on it, you're doing this, you're listening to our stupid humor. But some, we really do want to push this continually to people who really don't know anything about Talk Shop. Or, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, any of that, sorry. Me and this guy, we're, a few months? 2-3 months? That's all we know about.
Well, I've been in it for 2 years.
Yeah.
But minimally in it.
Yeah, like invested, but like I'm talking about knowing about we're 6 months at most for 3 months for me.
And I'm sure you're like a lot of people,
Yeah.
A lot of people have known about it, but they haven't done anything with it. A lot of people just heard about it and they're just getting into it.
So so if you're thinking, okay, some of this is easy stuff, so I already know all this, try to push this to people that don't. Share this to some of your friends and say, hey, these guys kind of are trying to show why I like it, why I invest in it, what's the purpose of it. Anyway, just like throwing that out there every week.
I feel like we're kind of preaching to the choir a little bit with this, but it's, I know when I watch videos, there's a lot of things that I know it's like, okay, yes, I know this, I know how this works, and the social media influencers talking about it, I'm like, okay, let's fast forward the video to get to the meat and potatoes that I want to know. But I think what a lot of people forget is for every one of me that knows what's going on in the video, there's 2 or 3 people that have no idea what he's talking about.
I'm going to say way more don't.
Yeah, and it's like just from doing this episode, trying to think of things, I find myself scrolling through the news and trying to come up with stuff. I'm like, oh, I know this, and this. And I'm like, wait a minute, let me backtrack. Somebody may not understand. So it's like I'm trying to put my feet in their shoes.
And that's why we're here, because most people don't understand.
Yeah, and so,
we're the dummies. So.
Not dummies, but one step above. No, I'm just
oh, thanks.
I'm right there on that line.
I was going to say idiots, but okay. So what's our next thing this week?
So moving on is actually about Domino's. And basically in
I
Europe...
love pizza. That's awesome.
I know. Pizza guys could show up any minute. So, no.
Just do a whole podcast on pizza.
Yeah. So basically Domino's is doing this entry. It looks like in Europe, in France.
I was very disappointed to see that it was in France.
I know. But it just was kind
They'll
of...
probably give up anyway.
Basically, Domino's is celebrating their 30th birthday, which, if you've been around long enough, I thought Domino's was going to go under a lot way back. But anyway, so they're celebrating their 30th birthday, and they're going to give one lucky person $110,000. But the cool thing is, they said you can either take it in euros or you can take it in Bitcoin, which you don't see companies like this really offering that. So my first question was, when I first read this, is Domino's invested in Bitcoin? Because I don't think they're just going to go to some exchange and just buy $110,000 and say, here you go, one-time deal. They're just going to toss it from their wallet and say, hey, tax write-off or something. I don't know.
Let's make you wonder.
That's a lot. That's like 11 Bitcoins, so that's like a lot.
Yeah, and like it just makes me
awesome
think.
Competition to win.
And like going back to what we were talking about with the news, a lot of these companies want the news companies to pay them to release news.
Uh-huh.
So what corporations, institutions are not saying anything but hold crypto? It could be Domino's, I don't know. But anyway, I thought this was kind of unique. It says, and they're actually doing it to also throw back to when a guy bought 2 pizzas with 10,000 Bitcoins.
Oh, yeah.
And it was worth, so get this, here's in the article in the link.
How many Bitcoin was it?
It was 10,000. So it says, the two have. So here's the whole article. It's only 3 paragraphs.
I remember the hearing about it, but oh my god.
Yeah. So potential winners have to buy pizzas for Domino's and then register their purchase online for a shot to win the prize draw of the $110,000. It says, but why Bitcoin and pizza? Well, the two have a history. In May 2010. Laszlo Hanzik, I'm sorry I pronounced that name wrong, paid 10,000 Bitcoins worth $41 at the time for the delivery of 2 Papa John's pizzas at today's price. Those 2 pizzas are now worth over $100 million. And it says right here, this would later become known as Bitcoin Pizza Day and would feature including the guy on CBS Bitcoin. Focused on the episode 60 Minutes, which they came out, was kind of interesting. But
10-year anniversary is coming up. We should do something on this show.
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of cool or unique. But
I think on this show we eat lots of pizza.
Yeah.
Maybe get lucky.
Like during the episode.
Do we order pizzas from France from here and be eligible
Would
to win?
that count?
Would that count?
Interesting.
You get it delivered to some random address in France.
That, or I dare you to find a pizza delivery guy that will accept like $30, $40 worth of your Bitcoin
cool.
to pay for it today.
Yeah, but I don't want to be the next joke of the pizza guy.
Okay, $40 compared to 10,000 Bitcoin.
But
it might be $200. $100 million. A little difference.
I think that guy, he was like, yeah, I'm upset, but not really. He was like, the pizzas were good. I can't remember.
I ain't never had pizza that good.
I love pizza.
Pizza.
Wow.
I love pizza, but I'm not
He
paying
could have
that
bought
much.
Domino's by now.
I know. Most expensive pizzas he's ever had.
It's kind of interesting. This goes back to a podcast that we talked about, how I wonder, man, that coffee's hitting me right now. I'm wired. But it makes me go back and think, will people actually wait and do the instant gratification of selling something for something? If you got to pay rent, you got to pay child support or something, definitely got to do that. But it's like, oh, let me get this Xbox that I can buy with Bitcoin. But then in 6 years, what is that going to be worth?
Yeah.
So it just makes me think.
It makes me wonder. I have a lot of things around here that I would sell some Bitcoin to some unknowing, like, sure, I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
Here, have this. And I'm
Yeah. Money.
Yeah. But you'd be like, oh, I don't even want, well, okay, fine, I'll take it, but I don't want it,
What do you mean you're going to pay me in suck coin?
For those who have been watching, we've created in our minds on this show a suck coin. So anyway,
Should create an actual suck coin, and like somehow it
I have a feeling it would
it
suck.
never goes up.
The suckiest of sucky.
Let's continue with real
Well,
news.
so does anybody know any of the news that's going on with Nasdaq?
What? How is it up or down?
Nick, did you happen to read that article?
I read this article. I knew nothing about Nasdaq, but I read the article.
Tell us a little bit about what you read.
Yeah, so to quote this article from ambcrypto.com, it says the second largest stock exchange in the world is emerging as one of the decentralized currency industry's biggest supporters. Nasdaq is set to add a new index dedicated to projects that surround the blockchain and decentralized finance ecosystem. So basically, they're going to have cryptocurrency indexes. It says including Bitcoin and Ether.
Nice.
They're not the first ones to do it, according to this article. There are other companies. Let me find it real quick. Yeah, Extante. I think that's a British company, and TradingView. So they're not the first, but
Oh, sorry.
oh no.
So you know a lot about, you took a trading class, or not a trading class, but like a stock market class. Tell us a little bit about NASDAQ.
Well,
I'm sure you covered that a time or two in your class.
as I was just searching here, trying to figure out what the investment return on like the Nasdaq has been, because it's one of the only like things that you've over the past 20, 30, whatever years that Nasdaq has been around. It's one of the only things that you really have been able to invest in and constantly get a return. Like, yeah, there's been down years. There's things where
It's proven.
yeah, as the Nasdaq is definitely proven. So it's basically something you can go into and invest right now, and you're going to drop multiple times, but over the life of it, you're going to see anywhere from 18 to 15%, most likely 7 to 15%. So again, not financial advice. Do not just drop your entire life savings on the Nasdaq. But it is something like I'm looking at right now, like a historical chart from 1971 to now, and yeah, it is insane how much it's grown. And if you want to talk about something that grows constantly, like if you see this chart, the late 70s look like the worst time, and then it keeps going every few years. The early 90s to early 2000s, but if you look from here, it's just constant upward mobility. Basically, because it's based off so much to do with GDP, the country, and constant investments, because it's huge. I don't even know currently what it costs to buy in right now. It's 8,000. Yeah, in September it was 8,084.15, and that was just early September. So anyway, I know that's not very informative. It's something that most people know. But yeah, that is something that has constantly given you returns, because at one point it started like mid 750, dropped down to like 250, and now you're looking at over 8,000.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's just bringing more, what's the word? It's just showing that big players in investment firms, in Wall Street. I'm telling you, that coffee is really messing with my brain right now. Your back wall's moving. But
is that just coffee? Or
Definitely, I don't know what he's talking about.
I think it's just bringing more validation to
and it'll make
the crypto market.
It'll make it easier to see like the fluctuations in real time.
Well, I think you're going to have these older men that look at the Nasdaq and they see that index and be like, "Oh, what the heck is DFAX or FIX, whatever it says, decentralized finance index?" And so, just bring more, more.
Well, because there's two, and I'm reading another article just going through, and it brings to mind what are the two most synonymous names with the market, and you look it up, you could probably name it off right now. It's the Nasdaq, the Dow.
Yeah.
Those are the two most important names around the market.
Yeah.
And so when that comes up and you can see that, it's going to be so important. It's going to be huge for Bitcoin, for cryptocurrency, to have any kind of index on that thing. So, yeah.
Well, the next article we have, I think we're going to skip over it, but it was basically Akon, the singer, is a huge fan of Bitcoin, believe it or not. And he has his own cryptocurrency. And basically there's a lot of FUD coming out with Bitcoin, and Akon is taking a stance. And
Yeah, I really liked this article actually because what he said resonated a lot with me.
Yeah.
How he talked about, he said the only thing backing the U.S. dollar is the military, and I don't think that's 100% true. But it's not as strong as they want you to think. So the only reason we use U.S. dollars is because the government said use U.S. dollars.
Yeah.
And what he said is cryptocurrency, the value of it is determined by each of its users.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the reasons that I'm so into cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I like you bring up a really good point where the value is determined by the users. A lot of these huge investors, Warren Buffett, and all that say, well, what backs it? And it's like, well, what backs the dollar? I mean, nothing really, but it's the U.S. economy. But it's like, what exactly are you looking at with them? But I know I'm splitting hairs, but it's So and people always ask me, it's like, well, where does the value of Bitcoin come from? And I always compare it to eBay. And I'm like, when you list something on eBay, what is it that you typically sell for? It's like what the person wants to buy for. And I'm like, that's exactly what Bitcoin is. You see a price up there, and if you don't like the price, you don't buy it.
Yeah, it's just like we have with eBay with there's the reserve. Like there is no reserve.
No.
Like if you think it's worth it, buy it. Like and there's so much of the economy. Really, a free market economy is any product is what somebody's willing to pay for.
Yeah, and that's why we see swings. When it's selling, people are like, oh, the value of this is dropping, or when it's going up, people are buying and saying this is something that has value, and that goes with everything in the world. And I really like that you brought that point up. Just bringing that power back. Basically, it's allowing people to exchange something and say, this has value.
And the fact that it's decentralized means it can't be influenced by anything.
And I think that's huge too. I think the more, not saying that Bitcoin's going to take over the world in our lifetime or whatever, but poor Odin, the dog up there, he is so distressed that we are having this podcast. He wants to join. But I can't remember exactly what I was saying. My mind went blank.
Talking about how the value is determined by all the users.
Yeah. But anyway, moving on. Right, we pretty much exhausted that. But there's this article that I wanted to bring up, and I thought it was interesting. So for you traders out there, we found this thing on Cointelegraph. It's a news article. And basically, they have 10 things every beginner trader must know. And I wish that I knew some of these 10 things because I would have not lost as much money as I did. And so the first one, it says the casino never closes. And it's not actually a casino, but basically a lot of casinos, if you go anywhere, they're 24/7. You can walk in there at 3 o'clock, and you can walk in there at 1 p.m. 3 o'clock a.m. that is. And it's not like the stock market. The stock market opens and closes. With Bitcoin, it's a 24/7 market. So you got to understand that there's always going to be something going on. If you miss a trade, there's always going to be another trade. There's also a thing called fundamentals, and I thought this was a really good paragraph. And it says the crypto market lacks fundamentals, the cornerstone of the trading legacy markets. When purchasing stock, a trader can review quarterly earnings, sales reports, and the company's roadmap, and countless other barometers of success. More importantly, companies trading on the stock exchange are regulated and therefore transparent. You generally know what you're buying. The strength of the team of the project in crypto is nearly irrelevant for a trader's purpose. These are pure traders. Traders rely on technical analysis, which is hard to use properly for newcomers to the space. Do you have a question?
Just listening.
It's testifying.
Basically, so what, and this is hard to describe because basically when you go in the stock market, a lot of Bitcoin traders that are becoming proven go to the stock market and they're just, this is what they say in the profit logs they post, they're just killing the stock market. Because with the stocks, usually there's, it's proven, like there's wedges, there's channels, and they're like, typically when it does this, it's going to do this. And all the other traders, it's kind of, what'd you call it, the hot hand theory?
Yeah.
Is that what it was? Like when people know that this is going to happen or think it's going to happen, it typically happens.
But
it's
the kind of like, and everyone's seen this who's seen what's it called, the Big Short.
Yeah.
The hot hand theory, basically people who bet against what's going to happen are usually the ones that make big time money. money. So it's like, because no one wants the thing that normally doesn't happen to happen.
Yeah.
So when it does, it's like you're bringing it in. Yeah.
So, and the thing with Bitcoin is a lot of people, it's only 10 years old, so there's not a lot of information out there to base on trends. So that's something else that's difficult to rely on. But going on to the third thing is it says, I'm making money, so why is my Bitcoin balance going down? So I think this is alluding to, and Nick, correct me if I'm wrong, you read this article?
Yes.
Yeah, so
But I'm not into trading, so I didn't really
no,
get
that's
it.
fine. So
Don't ask me for
what
it.
I'm thinking is basically it's saying, hey, my altcoins are going up like 5%. But it's saying, so why is my Bitcoin balance down? So when you do your Bitcoin comparative, you're losing because Bitcoin just went up 10%. Does that make sense?
I think so.
So that's what a lot of traders get wrong, and that was a huge learning curve for me. I did not understand that because I would change it to the Bitcoin comparative and it would say that I was losing 2, 3, 6% on all my altcoins, but then when I changed it to USD, I was gaining 3 to 4%. So what it's saying is basically when you change it to the Bitcoin comparative, if your money would have been in Bitcoin, you would have been gaining more money if you had your money in that. Which that was a huge learning curve for me. It looked like the light bulb just went on in Tyler's head, but.
Well, something's been, I will continue in a second. I'll bring up another point.
Well, go ahead, bring it up.
It was just something like, as I was sitting there thinking about it, and if we really believe crypto is kind of the next thing, if we really believe crypto is the future of currency and stock exchange, all these different things, it kind of makes me wonder, like, now that Nasdaq, and I know this is an old point we brought up, but it really had that light bulb moment. Like, I don't know if you know anything about the origin story of like basically Nasdaq, what it was?
No, tell us.
So Nasdaq was the first ever kind of place that you could go and trade everything without having a physical trading floor. You could do it on the computer. You could do it, without actually having to be there and trade stocks. You didn't have to have a stockbroker there going this, and this. It could be done, through the internet, virtually, whatever. So it was revolutionary. I think it was like back in '71. So if Nasdaq is kind of going to keep up and continue to be the next thing, like if it's going to continue to be
leader,
part of the next revolution,
yeah.
At the forefront where it's always been,
Yeah.
joining somehow with crypto and finding a way to show crypto as on their index and all this, because that's where it's at. It has to. Because crypto is becoming so big, and I don't know, I had that kind of moment just a second ago, like, man, it was revolutionary in its time, and now if it wants to continue being revolutionary, it's got to stay up with the times.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I just had that moment and was like, I got to throw that out there.
Good thought, food for thought.
Yeah.
So the next one talks about stop losses and taking profit. So basically, for you traders out there, this is real basic, but stop loss is you set up an automatic trade and you basically say, hey, if my trade goes down 5% in value, I want you to get me out of that trade. Or you have profit so you say, I'm going into a trade, I want to take 5% of profit. It will sell you out of the trade when you make 5% on your money. This is good risk management. So,
which investors can do this already? Like, you can go to Edward Jones, other places, and they can do that 5% drop. I don't want anymore. Kill it.
Yeah.
But if I want, if it jumps 5%, buy me, this or do that.
But a lot of people don't know about this.
Yeah.
So, but realize if you do this, you are dealing with capital gains and loss taxes. So just be sure that you know what you're doing when you go into that. Because you can turn your long-term investment into a short-term investment real quick. With capital gains going from 15% to 40%. So it's a huge turn. But anyway, so this next one I thought is a really good point. It says, I can turn $10 into $1,000 with leverage. This is basically doing longing and shorting. And currently, I found out that there is really not, with Backed is coming into play, and there's others that are compliant and legal. Found out that leverage trading is actually not allowed in the United States. And so this basically is where you put your money in and you say, I want to 50 times my money. Does that make sense? So
is this not allowed on crypto in the United States?
I think, yeah, in crypto, because there's no exchanges that are compliant and
because I'm sitting here like
compliant.
people, short and
Yeah.
leverage things all the time in regular stocks.
Yeah, so basically, anyway, what I'm saying is for people who can leverage, and I could be wrong with the leveraging, but from what I've researched and found out, it's not allowed. But anyway, people who can leverage, a lot of people will take this $10 and put 100x leverage on it. But what people don't understand is if Bitcoin moves down 1% in any given amount of time, you then get liquidated. But if it moves up 1%, you just made 100 times your money. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's a high risk, high reward. Now, I've been seeing in chat rooms, Discord groups, a lot of people go in and put a 50 times leverage on their $100 and they come out broke. A lot of these people, I think there was an exchange. Oh, I wish I
When you
knew
said
what it
they
was.
come out broke, are they literally?
They're literally losing all their money in 5 minutes.
So $50 in 5 minutes?
Yeah, so people are going on there putting $15,000 on the exchange, putting it at 75x leverage, and literally the price moves like that, done. They get liquidated. That 15 grand they just had is now a whopping goose egg. So it's extremely risky. And a lot of the leverage traders that I listen to out there, they talk about that if you are over 5x leverage, you're gambling. Which leverage trading is a whole nother beast in itself. It allows you for better risk management. So like if you want to enter in a trade, you go in 3, 4, 5x. Even though if it goes down, you still have cushion, but the upside is greater. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So basically with this, if you're leverage trading, just, and this is just friendly advice. I can't say anything financial, but just don't gamble with your money. Don't go in thinking that I'm going to put $50 in, I'm going to put on 50x leverage. You might win once or twice. But eventually, if you hear a lot of the traders, they win small, but they lose big, and that's why risk management is so important. So, you'll hear all these people. They're like, I had 10 really good trades and I made 1, 2, 3%, but they don't tell you they had a really bad trade and they lost 8% or 10% because the price just moves.
All I can think is it seems like it seems like the reward's higher unless I'm missing something where they can put in 50. If you can turn in 50 into 5,000 real quick, if you do it 10 times, you've lost $500, but that one time you gain 10,000 or 5,000.
But if you keep using the same leverage and then it goes down, you're losing a lot.
Okay.
But
I
see where you're coming from. Like if you keep,
because I'm trying to figure out if you're leveraging here. If you put up 50 and you get the 100 times or whatever, and it goes to 5,000. So if I do that, the other opposite, am I paying the opposite of that?
The opposite.
Does it go in the negative for me? Like it doesn't.
Right. So.
Because I want to make sure that I'm hearing this right.
So if I'm answering your question correctly, if you put $50 in exchange and you say I want 100x my money, so you're now trading with $5,000. Okay. Well, and it moves down. You're only responsible for the money you put in the exchange.
$50.
Yeah. So. Correct. You would lose your $50, but you don't owe the exchange $5 grand. Makes sense?
Sounds like a very easy reward in my opinion, but
can be, but you can also lose your shirt real quick.
Yeah. Anyway, I would never do it, but it sounds like somebody who really has $5 grand to spare could easily just time it right and boom, done. 1%, because Bitcoin moves 5% in a day sometimes.
I know. So that's why a lot of people say when you're trading over 5x leverage, you're gambling. There's a lot of good traders that trade at 20, but they've also been trading for 10 years, and they know exactly what they're doing. I'm glad I'm bringing up this point because I almost forgot about it, but a lot of the investors that are in crypto now are new investors. So they hear about leverage trading and they hear this trader that's been trading for 15 years saying, I just put 10 grand in and I just made a 50 grand off of it. You hear Joe Schmo out there and he's been like, oh honey, I can do this. Let me take out a loan. And then he
Yeah.
gets liquidated.
Yeah.
So just gotta be smart about it.
Just like the casino.
But so the next one is basically it's a get rich quick scheme. No, that is not the case. Yes, you can make a lot of money really quick, but you can also lose a lot of money real quick.
Very fast.
Moving on. It says crypto is not a safe investment, and the paragraph says an inexperienced person is far less likely to go broke buying a random stock than they are buying an available asset in crypto. The stakes are far higher. Crypto is not a safe investment and should only be a small part of someone's overall portfolio. Can't stress this enough. Because crypto, Bitcoin is a safer investment, but again, it's only $180 billion market cap. How much is the actual stock market? The stock market cap? 33 trillion, something like that, 40 trillion, 70 trillion. Either way, Bitcoin is only a couple percentages. Stocks are far more proven than Bitcoin. We talked about this earlier in the podcast. It's still a wild west. You know, it's not guaranteed.
Yep.
Moving on. It says, I get all of my trade advice from a cartoon on the internet. Don't do this.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
I get all my trade advice
Donald Duck told me to sell, so I did.
I get all my trade advice from this show called Talk Show.
And take this as not cartoon, but cartoons and other people. Even if they seem like good traders still get it wrong. People will tell you, you know, a lot of times these traders are only right 60% of the time. So if you listen to them at the 40% of the time that you're wrong and you bet it all, you just lost everything. So don't go off of somebody's advice. Always do your own research, and I will always stress this for as long as we have this channel. Do your own research, come up with your own conclusions and your own assumptions, and act on those alone. Don't ever go off of what me, Tyler, Nick says. Don't go off of what Joe Schmo on YouTube, who has 1 million followers, says to do. Because I guarantee you that's the fast track to losing on.
Yeah.
But so anyway, traders do not average down. And it says a common grave mistake many traders make is, if this sounds mundane, it might be. That's why I'm going to put timestamps in the video. But this is for new people. This could be gold, and this could really save some people money. So if you're new, skip ahead. But for newer traders, keep listening. A common grave mistake many traders make is averaging down, buying more of the coin as the price drops with the logic that a good thing is now cheaper, and even a better bargain. This logic applies to investing, not to trading. A trader has an invalidation level for their idea. Price dropping significantly should invalidate their trade and cause their stop loss to trigger or fire. Most beginners do not understand this and dig a deeper hole than necessary. Two different mindsets here. Long term, like me and Tyler are, we keep talking about this. When we see the price going down, we're like, that's better, that's more of a chance to buy Bitcoin. A trader says, whoa, I need to stop what I'm doing and I need to see how this plays out, because if I put in a trade, I'm going to lose my shirt. They're looking for the short-term game or looking for the long-term game.
Absolutely.
Next one, big, huge risk management. 99% of traders do not do this. You need to. This is boring advice, I understand. we are on number 10. Most of you probably stopped listening, but risk management is the most important thing that you'll do in crypto. This will protect your money more than anything. The paragraph states this. Risk management happens to be boring, but is most essential skill necessary to be profitable. Understanding how much to risk on a trade and how to properly balance a portfolio are exponentially more important than entries and exits. Learning this takes time. Let me say this again. Learning this takes time. Most new traders are broke before they understand the risk. I got really lucky. I tried to trade. I almost lost everything. When you do this, like we were talking about earlier, when you go in a trade, set your stop loss at a comfortable margin that you're comfortable with, 5% or whatever. Not financial advice, gotta say that again. Basically, you're trying to always make it in your favor to where if you enter in a trade, your upside should be way higher than your downside. So you're saying, hey, if I lose 5% on this trade, that's fine because I'm going to write it out to a 15% upside. Risk management, key. Moving on.
And the reason he said 5% is just kind of a good number. It's not like something you do not do not just listen to everything he's saying, but it is a good number. It's a safe number. It's something that you can go out and go, I'm not going to lose my tail off this. I'm not going to, not going to be able to feed the kids. If
Put
5%
in perspective,
goes
you're
away.
trading $100. You put a stop loss of 5%. You still got $95. Great.
Awesome.
Cash out. It's $5 you lost.
You can still afford to get to work the next morning.
Instead, you
Yeah.
put a 50% stop loss. You now have $50. You lost 50% of your money.
Yep.
Good going. And you were hoping to make 3%. Well, you lost 50. Sorry, that sounds terrible to me. Anyway, well,
But I think we're getting close to the end of this.
I think that'll conclude our show. Make sure to stop by our Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Give us a like, subscribe.
Talk Shop Store.
Talk Shop Store. We got some merch.
And before we go, are there any things that we're going to be doing in the future? Again, I bring this up every week at the end of this show.
Yeah, we are gonna try to make it. Go check out Crypto Crow. He's the man. I follow his YouTube. He brings it real. He is hosting an event in Ohio that we're gonna try to go to called Chainwise, and that'll be November. Date's slipping my mind, but we're gonna try to do that.
We can post that on our
We'll
link to that.
We'll post that. I am in talks with some influencers and some tax people, so can't say their names because I don't want to, create any difficulties. But we got some people coming on the show. If y'all know of anything or know of anybody, if y'all know anybody that wants to come on the show that you want us to interview, let us know, and we will try to reach out to them or just direct them towards us. So, but yeah, thanks for tuning in for episode 3. Look out for episode 4. Appreciate y'all. See y'all on the next one.
Have a good one.
All right. I'm going to order pizza now.